All right, recording has started.
Hey, Tim, can everyone see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Good morning. Welcome to the April OSIS data meeting. Just have some updates for you. We do apologize. We had a pause or pivoted in the month of March. Our new director has been assigned, and so to be sure that we comply with new directives and visions, we wanted to make sure that we streamline our training, our sessions with our new director, Mr. Peter Coip, is our new director here in the office, and so just aligning visions and different things like that. So, nonetheless, we are here this morning for the April call, and we're gonna get started. Okay, the items that we're going to cover this morning, there's some additional corrections that needs to be made for the child count submission. OSIP has changed. The Office of Special Education Programs have changed the way that we do our submissions. Normally, that would have gone up in April. I believe it would have been April 5th, but they've changed some things, and the new system actually opened 2 weeks ago. So we have to revamp some of our processes to be compliant with it. And with that, we discovered some additional changes, that clarification or corrections that needs to happen. And it's basically centered around the LRE age and grade level of the student. So we're going to talk about that this morning. We're going to talk about the data results for the
Marilyn,
indicators.
we're
Yes.
not we're not seeing the slide move, and we're it's not in presentation mode either.
It's not okay.
No.
Okay. Alrighty. So, what about now?
No, nothing's changed. I'm just seeing a frozen. Oh, wait, we're seeing you move the screen now.
Okay. I'm going to get the PowerPoint on the right screen.
Might want to share the correct screen as well.
Okay. What are you seeing on the screen now?
We see you moving the PowerPoint presentation, and we're seeing what
Is
looks like
it the
your file explorer in the background.
okay? Okay, so I do this on this one. PowerPoint. Uh-oh. Back it up a few minutes. I do apologize. Albert, if you would just pull it up on your side.
Give me one moment.
Okay. Stop sharing. We just kind of have one of those what can go wrong will go wrong this morning. So once again, we do apologize.
All right, can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, give me one
Okay.
second. Are you seeing?
I see the presenters.
Okay,
Okay,
hold
there
on.
we go. Okay.
Okay.
If you could just forward to
Yes.
the agenda. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. Okay, so we will discuss the data results for the indicators 7, 11, 12, as well as the submissions for the results for indicators 4, 9, and 10. We have exciting information for you about the SUNS ID assignment. We're going to discuss the year-to-year changes, as well as, can you guys hear me just fine?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to put myself on mute.
Okay. We're going to talk about the Indicator 8 parent survey and the proposed changes to the determinations and then some reminders. Next slide. Okay. For the child count, and as I was stating earlier, the Office of Special Education Program has implemented a new process, a new program software for us to do our submission. We are no longer we will no longer be able to make corrections after submissions. So all corrections submissions have to be made in advance. So as a part of that process, we had to streamline or redo some of the things that we had in place in order to meet OSEP's requirements. And with that software, once we added our information in there, there were a lot of age, grade level LRE mismatch, and it's basically centered around the 5-year-olds. That's where the majority of them are. And I'm assuming it's because of the table difference to be able to account and report for those students. So nonetheless, if the student is age 3, 4, and 5 years old and not in kindergarten, those are considered early childhood LREs. They should all have an LRE that's applicable to the early childhood category. So students that are 5 and in kindergarten and ages 6 through 21 should have a school age LRE. So that, like I said, those are the main things that we saw, and we had about 2,000 of those errors that needs to be corrected before we submit federally. Next slide. So what I wanted to do was just to show you the ages, grade level, and these students would be considered pre-K. So all students who are ages 3, 4, and 5 and not in kindergarten should have one of these LREs that's listed on the slide. Okay. And those are, once again, those are considered early childhood LRE codes. Okay. Next slide. Which makes our school age students 5K and in kinder and 6 through 21 should have one of these school age LREs. Please note that separate school lists in both early childhood and early childhood and school age LREs. So when I send you the clarification, you should have those uploaded in ADT by tomorrow morning. So when I send those to you, just make the correction. You can leave it there, Albert. All of those corrections will be centered around the LRE codes corrections. And I just need you to make those corrections and send it back to me. I have to have those corrections by mid-May, and I will be in constant communication with those districts that are impacted. Next slide, please. Our data results for indicators 7, 11, and 12, as I stated earlier, to comply with the changes with our incoming director, we did not have a March meeting. Therefore, we also pivoted on sending out results for those upcoming indicators to take into account any changes that may have happened or need to happen internally. So as a part of I said March, as a part of the February submissions for indicator 7, 11, and 12, once we go through and incorporate the April submissions for the data quality checks, we will send all of those results will be included or incorporated into our April submission or April data quality check, and we should have those uploaded into ADT by mid-May, so that you will know what corrections need and should be made prior to your June and July submissions for indicators 7, 11, and 12. April was the last data quality check for this year before your final submission. So we hope to catch all of those scenarios or instances where there are issues in your data that needs to be corrected before your final submission. Indicators 4, 9, and 10, those are analyses that are completed internally in our office. Currently, we are preparing for internal discussions. So those districts that meets the 2.5 threshold for indicators 4, 9, and 10, those are triggers. It does not mean that you have significant discrepancy or that you have inappropriately identification. It is just a trigger that that warrants the file reviews or the self-assessments. So our program team, if your district is identified, our program team will contact those districts that requires follow-up action or further information. Further actions will be needed from those LEAs. Um, our profiles, data, our IDEA profile data, you will have that information in ADT early May. That is a federal requirement that we have it posted to the website 120 days after we submit our SPP APR report. We do not get any fluctuations on those calculations or methodology, if you will. The federal government determines how we calculate the data for the profiles, and we are required to report the data for the SPP APR by LEA. So that's what that information is, and we'll have that to you for your review in May. And it goes live June 1st. Okay, next slide. Son's ID, I'm not sure if you remember me talking about this a while ago. It's been in the works for some time now. And so we, through the help of our Power School contacts or counterparts at the State Department, we have been working with Frontline to streamline this particular process under the auspices that all students should have a Son's ID number, even those students who receive services outside of the public school setting. And so all students that were in Frontline as of April 18th, we provided our Power School counterparts a list of those students, and they are going to actually look for near matches and matches on students' name and assign them a Son's ID number. That information is coming out, but they wanted you guys to hear it from us first. There's a manual, a guide that will accompany that information that should be coming out within the next couple of days. But that is going to end the manually entry process for all students into Enrich. All students effective April 21st, you should begin the enrollment process within Power School so that all students can obtain a Son's ID number. We do recognize that there may be a lag in enrollment between the 18th and the 21st. So if you do have any students that enroll or were manually entered into Enrich, Enrich has created a report on the hub so that you could run that list and know which students need to be added in on the Power School side. And students will filter into the Enrich system through the nightly interface process on the Power School side. And we hope that will streamline our processes and remove some of the barriers that the manually entry process posed on your data submissions. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I recently posted in ADT a report, year-to-year report. And basically, this is another federal report that we have to submit. And basically what it is, it's a year-to-year change, and that change is defined as an increase or decrease of more than 20 children and 20%, or a change in count of 20, more than 20 children in 1 year, and a count of 0. Okay, and so those are the two instances in which a year-to-year change could happen within the LEA. And if it is, then you'll see the word explain that appears under the change column. And if so, in the Word document, you would then write your explanation in the Word document and send that back to our office via the Special Education Services email folder. And we will combine your responses to create a state response, if you will, and submit that information to OSEP. If your spreadsheets, if your Word documents have all blanks and there's nothing, the word change does not appear, great job. There's no explanations required from your district at this time. Um, Everything we do realize and recognize that everything is kind of bottlenecking in the month of May to meet these requirements. But we will, now that we know what we are required to do, we will align the year-to-year changes to the actual submissions of tables 2, 4, 5, all of the table reports that you submit. We will align the year-to-year changes with that report so that you will know in advance, and it's not so quick, this quick turnaround on explanations that you have to send back to our office. Next slide. Okay, I did want to show you a demonstration of what that spreadsheet looks like and when you would be required to write an explanation. So you see under the word change for move known to be continuing and receive certificate, you see the word explain there. So you would be required to write a response, an explanation under the word response next to that particular category, telling us what led to that change. It doesn't have to be anything lengthy or wordy, just a general explanation of what led to the change in your district, and we will combine a state response and submit that to the Office of Special Education Programs. Next slide, please. And this information is due back to us May 1st. I did have to put a hard return date on that one because of the time frame in which we have to get those responses submitted to OSEP. Indicator 8 submission. We are re-implementing our 3-year cyclic process to administer the surveys. But for this particular year, all districts will submit May 5th. We are working on some other scenarios for this report, but initially all districts will submit their data to us on May 5th. So that we are assured that we have the basic demographics. Now, indicator 8, it is just basically demographics information that you are submitting to our office, so that we can create the postcards to send to the families to complete the surveys. The links in Enrich will remain the same as it is now, which means that at the annual IEPs or initial IEPs, there will be a letter included for the families to complete that survey. We will continue that process. We will not stop that. The one thing that we're looking at right now is condensing the number of focus districts that will participate in the survey. So we should have more information about this particular process to you when we have our May meeting. Next slide. We did want to talk about our state performance plan, our annual performance review timeline. That information is submitted to OSEP February 1st every year. And we have clarification. Our clarification period is April 13th through the 27th. So we're in clarification period right now, where we are making corrections or tweaking our explanations as it pertains to our data. Our data profiles, as I stated earlier, will be published. The requirement is that data is published 120 days following the submission of the SPP APR, which makes our required data for posting for the profiles June 1st. We are separating the release of our profiles and determinations Mr. Coy, Peter, is looking to revamp and he wants to make it more meaningful. So we're having some conversations centered around the publication or the release of the termination data. In the interim, next slide, we did want to bring you make you aware of some of the things that we are changing in that, so that when you do get your determinations, you will know what it represents and where the data came from. We do have, or we have created a data alignment sheet so that if you have any questions about the numbers that we have or the data that appears for your district, you will know which data source to refer to see or double check. But you should also have, you should have also received our notification results, that tells you what the data result is for the appropriate indicator and when that data will be published on the determinations. So one of the changes that that you will see as it pertains to the compliance factor is, right now we previously notified you that we would use the compliance factor data for the school year 2020-21. That is going to be changed to reflect the compliance factors, your data submission finance, indicator 13, indicators 11 and 12, indicator 4, and indicators 9 and 10. Your compliance, but those compliance factors data will be based off of your data from the 21-22 school year, as opposed of using the lag year data. So the data for the compliance factor will and should align with the data on your profiles. Okay. Performance factor, we are revamping, or having conversations about that. So right now, because we are having conversations about that, we're delaying issuing the determinations and the performance factors until we get some preliminary data, and provide that to you so that you can see what we're doing and get some input from you. But the thought on the floor right now is to use the current data, which means that your submissions for your table 4, table 5, your child count will be based on on the data that you submitted for the 22-23 school year. So your table 4, table 5 report that you submit in June, July, we will use that data for your graduation rate, your suspension, your child count that we're currently working on. That's the data that the LRE code would be based off of, and the testing data. So like I said, we're having conversations about that, and definitely want you to be abreast of the process as we make changes in our office. So next slide, please. Um, as it pertains to the assessment data, we OSEP changed. We know originally we used grades 3 through 8 on the performance factor 2 and 3 for ELA and math. And then OSEP made the change to separate the assessment data by fourth grades, eighth grade, and high school. So what the current plan on the floor right now is to we will keep the fourth and eighth grade separate. And in those instances where districts may do better on a particular grade level assessment, you do get the option of getting points in either category instead of a combined average, and eliminate the possibility of you receiving any points at all. We are also looking at resetting our baseline and targets on the assessment data. And the data that we're going to use to do that is the 18-19 assessment data, the 2020-21, and the 21-22 data sets. Those are the data sets that we will be using to look at resetting our baseline and targets for assessments. Okay, next slide, please. For performance factors 4 and 5, we were using 5A and 6A, and then the switch happened and we went to 5B and 6B. Under the new leadership, we are reverting back to 5A and 6A for your determinations for PF4 and PF5. So that change is coming down. That change is coming down the pikes, and we wanted you to be aware of that change. Next slide. For performance factor 5, which is our early childhood outcome, we don't have good representation or great representation for early childhood on our determinations. And so one of the change that we are looking at is possibly using the COAST data for performance factor 5 as opposed to the LRE data. But that is up for discussion. This is just one of the things that we have talked about using. We also talked about using the KRA data for the performance factor 5, but we definitely wanted you to be aware of that. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, please talk with your special education directors and provide your insight to them so that as discussions are happening around this subject, your district dynamic is considered and you have a voice and a seat at the table. The data that we are looking at to reset these baseline and targets is the 2019-20, 2020-21, and 21-22. So we're going to look at the COAST data for those 3 years and see how that pairs and if it's a good data point, if it's a good enough to possibly strike some conversations in a positive way when looking at the outcomes for early childhood. Next slide, please. Our suspension data, we know that COVID really had an impact on discipline data, and it really skewed the results over the last couple of years in reporting. And because suspension, our Table 5 data, we use lag data, we cannot, or they don't like for us to use the recent data before it is actually verified at the federal level. But that's a conversation that's under review right now as it pertains to which data set we will use for our performance factor 6. And just so that you know, the data sets that we are looking at to reset our baseline, we did not have the 1920 data as a part of this because that data was heavily impacted upon COVID. So we are looking at the 18, 19, 2020, 21, and the 21, 22 Table 5 data to reset baseline and targets. I do want to take this opportunity to put the plug in that June will be the last time, early July will be the last time that you will submit the Table 5 report using the Excel spreadsheet because the 23-24 school year, we will use the incident management data from PowerSchool. So that those analyses will be completed at the state level, and we will provide you results for your districts similar to how we do for indicators 4, 9, and 10, just so that you'll know. We've provided the formulas that we use. So if you want to get an early start and look at it to see, you're more than welcome to do that for your district. Okay, next slide, please. The last change to the performance factor, and we did take this into this was used on our determinations last year and last summer when we published them. Instead of just using the ready to work results for career readiness, we're using all categories that qualifies a student to be career ready. So that should help improve your results or your data for the career readiness section portion. And because we were only looking at one of the criteria, we are going to look at the 18, 19, 2020, and 20 21-22 data as it pertains to resetting the baselines and targets for the career readiness performance factors. And so moving forward, we will take all 5 of these categories into consideration when determining if the targets and outcome data for career readiness. Next slide, please. As a reminder, our monthly meetings are held on the 3rd Thursday of every month at 10 o'clock. Our next meeting is May 18th, and the last for this particular school year will be June 15th. At the conclusion of the June meeting, I will delete all monthly recurring meetings and send out new notices and invitations simply because our list has become convoluted. And I will use the data managers and directors list, contact list from Deems. So make sure that your information is updated in Deems. And that's the list that I'm going to use to recreate the invitation for the monthly data calls. Next slide. Okay. As always, we are here to serve you. This is our contact information. And at this time, we're going to open the floor for questions and answer any questions that we may have in the chat.
Give me one moment so I can get everybody off of mute here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, the floor is now open for anybody to ask any questions. Now you can unmute yourself.
Hey, Carolyn, it's Laura Simmons in Anderson Ford. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Hey, listen, can you clarify about the Power School and ID? Does that include our like BabyNet kids and stuff? Because we don't put them in Power Schools.
Correct. Those students that you formally enter directly into Enrich, those students, the enrollment process will now start in Power School, where those students will be assigned a SUNS ID number, and they will filter into Enrich through the Power School nightly interface process. They will be assigned a tag under EFA EEI, which basically means non-funded.
So we have to put those kids currently that we have that aren't in Power School, we have to go ahead and enroll them in Power School by tomorrow?
No. The Power School contacts, they are taking care of this first run, this initial pull, which means that any student that is in Enrich right now without a number, they are going through the process to assign them a SUNS ID number and filter that process into the Enrich. So you don't have to do anything right now. I do believe that there will be a required.
Are they aware they need to look at those that are inactive in Enrich to know who some of those kids are?
Yes, they do. They do.
If they're manually entered, they're in historical data.
Right.
So if the student was ever in Power School, they already have a SUNS ID number. So we won't have to reassign them a number. We're talking those students who have never been in Power School, who've never had a state ID number. So yes, they are taking exact matches, near matches, and then looking for those who've never been assigned a number. And if in the absence of the first 2, then the third will happen. They will be identified a state ID number. And our Power School team at the state level is actually doing this for us. So the only action at the district, I believe that they may be required to do an update. But like I said, they're going to send that information to the districts, but we wanted to make this population, this group aware of that, so that we would stop the enrollment process, the manually entry process into Enrich.
So from now on, then we need to put those kids, we need to enter them into Power School.
Correct.
From like this point forward.
Correct.
So that's a training piece for my folks. I need to let them know. Okay.
Yes.
So all of our BabyNet kids.
So this is
entered. Okay.
So this is Emily Talon with Spartanburg District 7. So we're entering kids in Power School who may never step foot in school. Like
Correct.
our BabyNet kids, our preschool kids, because we typically do that at the meeting with the students when we kind of decide which direction we're going to go in. So that means we're not going to be able to do that then. They're going to have to be entered in Power School before we
there's-
can
if
ever
this-
do a meeting invitation or anything.
These students will start the process in Power School.
And what's, I know you said it's effective immediately. Sorry, this is Maya Rosenberg from Berkeley. Is our effective date today? So any students we have kind of with meetings coming up in the next couple of days, we need to have parents enroll so we can have them in Power School prior to initiating those child find processes?
I would, yes.
Okay.
Well,
Carolyn, this is Susan Howard. I was wondering, has this information been relayed to Power School clerks? And is there guidance? Because I know there's a no funding link also on some of these kids of what fields need to be completed. So there's more guidance on what that looks like.
Yes, they have a manual that they're going to share with them, the Power School folks. Like I said, our state contact who works directly with the Power School coordinators, they are the ones that's actually implementing or assisting us with implementing this process. They do have a manual instruction guide to accompany the information that's going to go out. I do believe that some of them have been briefed on them. I do know that the technology coordinators, Power School coordinators at some level have been included as a part of this particular process. It's coming. It's coming.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. And the other reason this is taking place is because as we move forward with federal reporting, all students will be required to have a unique identifier.
Carolyn, this is Melissa with Georgetown. So our students that are in a private school, will they need to be enrolled in Power School at their base school in the community? The parent would either enroll them in Power School at their home school?
So what we're doing, basically each district, some districts are already doing this and they have created a community school district within their Power School system. All districts will have a community school, or I think it's going to be called like a community school, but the school number is going to be 991. All districts will have that school. So as students who are in this population enroll into your district, they will be assigned to that particular school within your district. And that's how it's going to go. All of these students will have the non-funded code of EEI, so that as far as funding and different things like that, they won't have an E for enrolled. They'll have a code of EEI for their EEI should be their primary EFA code, and will be, unless the student is visually impaired or hearing impaired.
Hey, Carolyn, it's Laura again. Do you know, are they going to put some procedures and stuff out in writing that we can have or copy of so we can make sure?
Yes, yes, as I stated earlier, there is a guide that goes along with these instructions, and that will be shared when this information is released.
Okay, I'm sorry I missed that. Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, this is Maya from Berkeley again. I just had a quick question because sometimes our parents don't bring in the information or something to give us what we need to enroll the student in Power School. In that case, is there an option to still do a manual entry so we can ensure we can get that child find process started, so we don't have a delay in child find?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Carolyn,
I'm sorry, just to be clear, the students that are enrolled in Enrich right now, you do not have to go back and add them into Power School. That process is happening at the state level. So we are actually adding those students into your Power School using the basic demographics from Enrich to add those kids, which basically is your first, middle, last name, date of birth, race, ethnicity, just those basic demographics is what's needed to actually assign a student a SUNS ID number to get the process rocking and rolling and moving.
Thanks, Carolyn. This is Melissa Chiplis, also from Berkeley. So we don't, our current process sounds similar to others that we, enroll them manually. So we don't have a system in place or a person trained in our department to enter them into PowerSchool and get that up and running. And it sounds like we need to, and we will. Will there be, what will be the grace period with being able to do that? It sounds like you're saying that it needs to start happening today. I just know realistically from our standpoint, we'll need to, train our staff to support us through this.
And I'm saying today, just to kind of get districts in the mindset to shift and shift the process. I believe right now, and I know that it's different in every district. Each school may have a PowerSchool administrator, so you will work with that PowerSchool administrator to ensure that at least the basic demographics is into the system to get the ball rolling, so that the students are uploaded into the Enrich as a part of the nightly interface process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carolyn, this is Sonia. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So 2 questions on that. So if we get a baby net at 2.5, we have the parent go to the school and enroll.
They can, you can still, there are multiple ways to do this. You can, where I came from, we had a short application process where the parents put their information on, and that information came to me as the PowerSchool administrator. You could implement something like that so that that information gets to the person that needs it. They just need all the information to get the process started so the students can get into the system.
Okay, so then when if they go through and we, at the first meeting, determine baby net and or child find that they're not moving forward, there's no reason to even evaluate. We need to then communicate with PowerSchool, not just an Enrich, to end them. Is there an attendance, anything, or?
No. This basically, this process is just to get them into the system and get them a SUNS ID number. I don't believe that there's a schedule attached to the student's name or anything like that, but I will double check. This is just to basically get them a SUNS ID number.
Thank you.
Carolyn, this is Becky in Greenville, and I'm just wondering, I don't intend to try to pin you down on an answer, but I do believe there needs to be some sort of timeline, because this is going to be a new process, I would imagine, for most everybody on this call. So what is the timeline for, I know what the slide says, but realistically, what is the timeline for people to be able to get this new process in place?
Okay. Okay. How about we have I have an internal discussion with our state counterparts on the PowerSchool side, and then I can provide you an update on our next call.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Carolyn, this is Greg from Lexington 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you really need to do is get with DHEC and BabyNet, and on their transition referrals, all the information that PowerSchool needs to be listed on that form, the demographic information, not just the date of birth, but all the demographics that the PowerSchool people are going to be asking us for that we will have no clue. And trying to get a hold of some of these parents to get this information or have them come in, it's going to be nearly impossible in a lot of cases.
Okay, will do.
Greg, I totally agree, because this is Emily Talon. And that's a great idea, because one of the big issues we have is when we have parents who never show up and we need to close out part C to B, and they don't have race or ethnicity on the BabyNet information that we get. So if we never can talk to the parent and do all that, we don't have that information.
Okay. Thank you. I certainly will. And we are in partner with them. We currently have an MOU in place to share information. So when we have our next meeting, I will definitely bring this to their attention.
This is Sonia in Spartanburg 5 again. Are you saying after today we don't manually enter, or we keep going as we are?
I'm going to lean on no manually entry, but I do understand that it is a process.
And the other, I mean, I hear a lot of discussions regarding C2B, but the other thing that it impacts is some pre-K programs, because like CERTUP is technically private, and we have had a process where we don't enter them in PowerSchool and we do it manually. So it's some of those pre-K funded programs.
These students, currently, any students, CERTUP, those are excluded. So these students would be excluded from those, summer school programs, if you will. It will be taken into consideration.
Okay.
Carolyn, this is Cheryl Knight, Florence One. How are you today?
Well, how are you?
Okay, so for the 10th time, I'm gonna ask you to just say it one more time. So at the point of referral, all BabyNet and Child Find kids are entered into PowerSchool at the very beginning.
How
Correct?
about I will add that to the topic of conversation for clarification on the PowerSchool side and provide you with that information. But it is my understanding that those students, you should shift your enrollment process for students that are receiving services. And they will be added in on the PowerSchool side versus the manually entry process into Enrich. But like I said, let me get clarification to make sure that what I'm telling you is the correct thing. In the event that your district already have a process in place, continue if your district already have a process in place of enrolling these students into your district, continue, because that's the direction in which we're going.
Carolyn, this is Tina Danielson, 56. You said if they're receiving services, we put them in Enrich to go through the assessment process before we know whether they qualify or not. So they may or may not be receiving services when you're saying point of referral.
Before services, okay.
So if
But
we
if
have
but if
someone
but if
contact,
you
pardon?
go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, so if someone contacts us and they suspect a disability, we manually enter them in Enrich so that we can go through the assessment, the reval eligibility process. They may or may not receive services. We won't know that until that assessment is complete. But so what you said was they go in PowerSchool if they're receiving services, but we won't know that when they're referred. So I guess I'm confused. If we get a referral, regardless if we know if they qualify or not, they are to go in PowerSchool?
I will follow up and provide that clarification to you.
Okay.
I believe all of our processes are in Enrich where we have to enter specific information. So we're already having to open Enrich to obtain that information.
Correct. And that's where I'm confused, whether it needs to go through PowerSchool first.
The PowerSchool portion of it is just to ensure that each student have a son's ID number.
So with that being said, Carolyn, if we were to manually enter a student and they have been put in PowerSchool after, can we just merge the two files so it would come under the son's number?
If that's what we currently do.
Right. Can we still do that?
I'm assuming you could, but
and we need to go ahead and get the paperwork started. We manually enter today. We get them in PowerSchool tomorrow or the next couple of days. Can we merge the two so that it falls under the one with the son's number?
I do believe that there were some problems or issues with the merging process. Has that been resolved to your knowledge?
haven't seen any issues on my end. It seems to work with me.
Okay, I will ask I will ask the contacts on the Power School side about that, and I'll let you know.
The one problem was that unless the full name is there, like if we have a person entering for child find that doesn't put a middle name, and then the Power School person puts a middle name, it doesn't show as a duplicate.
But
You
that
have
would be, but that would be considered a near match though, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I
Not an enrich.
Okay, I'm taking all your questions down, and I will ask my counterparts on the Power School side and let you know. And that one, I will not wait for the monthly meetings, but I will provide clarification. I'll send an email with an update on about that.
Carolyn, this is Jenny Gasping, Greenwood 50. I just wanted to say thank you for all the extra investigation that you're having to do.
It's okay. It's okay. Knowing is half the battle.
That's right. And while you're also getting clarification on pre-K, I have a question about adult ed, and I noticed some other people did in the chat as well. So I wondered if you could please add that to your list.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Say, team third. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Melissa with Georgetown, aside from the manually entered kids, I had a question about the explain on the results for our students that moved.
Mm-hmm.
Can you, I'm not sure what we should list as an explanation for students that move known to be continued.
Sometimes that increase in move known to be continuing is centered around a new school or school shifting. And sometimes it's just because there was an increase of students moving or transient. Remember, the Table 4 report is lag data. And so what you're reporting on now was very well impacted by COVID. And so just think about the dynamics and how things shifted and shifted and twisted during that time frame and what was going on in your district. So this is just the impact of what was going on in your district.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How are you?
I'm good.
A question about the year-to-year report also with table 5.
Mm-hmm.
The report only lists OSS removals, but our number OSS only for the 21-22 year. So I was wondering, is that indicative of ISS also?
No. This is just strictly out of school suspension. Although you do report ISS, federally, we only have to provide clarification on out of school suspensions. So if you look,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So when you look at your report, you will see there are a couple of things, and it looks like it's the same, but it's really not the same. So you will see it's like a sum of 10 days, less than 10 days, and then a sum of greater than 10 days. You will see a change for 1 day. There's a change for 2 to 10 days, which means that if a student had 10 days, they're included in that. And then you'll see another one for greater than 10 days.
So if we are reviewing our table 5 report and those numbers are not report, we should just contact you?
Yes, please.
So Carolyn, this is Sonia again. On that question though, where you and I talked earlier, that it says total removals.
Okay.
Total removals includes ISS.
Total, okay, so yes, you are right. Total, she asked specifically about out of school suspension. Total removals does include any instance, it does look at all incidents in which a student was removed from their instructional setting, place of setting. So that will include ISS, OSS, in some cases, lunch detentions. So you want to look at all of those instances in which a student was removed. I think we previously shared with you a report where it looks at the codes that we use. So you do want to look at your incidents, if you will. Your total removal report looks at your incidents.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carolyn, this is Angie Michaud with Lexington 3. I think the question is though, and I emailed you earlier, like the numbers that we're seeing on our table 5 year-to-year results, those numbers like OSS, 10 days or less, that second column, the number that's reflected there is being pulled from our table 5 discipline report. And it's not correct because that number, let's say it says 100, that number on our report is really including ISS and OSS. And
The same for Allendale.
So, okay, so you're saying that the number that you put there include under your OSS, you included
No.
ISS?
No, on my chart that I submitted under my OSS, it says 0. But on this report, the year-to-year results, it may say 1 or 10 because it pulled this year-to-year results. That's being pulled from our all removals. It has ISS. I think that's what they're trying to. Somebody else was trying to ask the same question. Is like I'm gonna give you an example. OSS less than or equal to 10 days for fiscal year 2021. It shows me as having 84 on my table 5 year-to-year results. That's not correct. That 84 is the number of total removals, which included ISS and OSS.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I asked the question, Carolyn, because our in one of our fields, OSS by itself is less than what's on this report. The report is reflecting ISS and OSS, and I didn't think that was correct. So I just wanted to verify that.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
same thing
I'll
for
double
us.
check that. I'll double check it and see. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, at this point, we're getting almost to the top of the hour. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording and we can still continue conversations if there are any more questions afterwards.